Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Full Time Devils podcast. I've got no idea which number it is because I have not been on the podcast for a while, I'll be honest. Last time it was 40 something, so I feel like we're way past that at this point. But yes, today I am joined by James. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Slowly getting back to normal now. We are in the UK. It's taking a while, but I don't know when you listen to this, but we've just had the Arsenal City game last night, so that's hopefully something that's going to get back to normal. Obviously, United are playing tomorrow, which could be like next week for you people. So yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, and we've got John with us from New York. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Is this a bit early for you, or are you around? Early, nearly afternoon now?
Yeah, actually, I was speaking to Jay about this before we went live. He always has my ass waking up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I'm a little bit brighter. My background's brighter. I have a flower shirt on. I'm ready to go. We should have a great conversation today.
Fantastic. That's what we like to see. And of course, we are joined by Keerthan as well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good. Oh, good. We had a technical delay before where Keerthan couldn't hear me, which most people would probably pay to not hear me. So you were quite lucky with that, I'll be honest. But yes,
Apologies.
as James said, football's back. And before we get into all of that, I think one thing that has been on everyone's like social media feeds, what everyone's been talking about as a Manchester United fan, is hopefully soon to be Sir Marcus Rashford. I mean, the kid is just a refresher. I mean, he's raised 20 million to help supply 3 million meals to children. He's campaigned to help the homeless back at Christmas time. He learned sign language to judge a poetry competition for a deaf school, and he's helped with the government providing free meals for schools. I mean, if this kid does not get a knighthood, I'm sorry, but there's something wrong with society. Well, there's lots wrong with society, but there's extra wrong with society. Like, what do you make of what he's been doing, guys? Anyone?
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah.
Firstly, thanks for having me on.
No worries.
Yeah, and everything he has said, it comes straight from the heart. You can make it out from how he speaks. He has felt the pain. He has lived through the pain. He has grown, in those situations. So you can really know that, he feels what the underprivileged people or the poor people feel. So he is genuinely trying to help them out despite financially outgrowing, that difficulties. So all he deserves every bit of praise that is coming his way. And like you said, firstly, it is very easy for us to point fingers towards those in power or those in position, saying yes, they are supposed to do something about it or something like that. But he took the initiative, and he himself raised 20 million, like you said, to feed 3 million meals. And then he realized, I guess, that the problem is much bigger than that. So he started writing those letters to the MPs, and he started persuading the government, and now they have allocated 120 million, is it, to feed around 1.3 million children. So we must realize that we are in the middle of a global pandemic. So all countries are walking on an economic tightrope. In that time, if the government is allocating 120 million for a cause, it is undisputable, and all credit must go to him, because what he has done is truly remarkable. But what I wish to say is it need not stop there. Like personally, there is an orphanage near my house which is very close to my heart. So in this 3 months of lockdown, I've put all my savings, I've contributed there, so that they don't fall short of anything economically or in terms of essentials. So I guess we all can be Marcus Rashfords of our own societies, of our own communities, and if every footballer or if every football fan begins to stand with one poor child or one underprivileged child, I guess that will be football's contribution to society. So I think we should take this movement forward. It is a great thing what he has done, though.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, John, what do you think about the whole, I think when lockdown started and furlough was in discussion and stuff like that, a lot of people were quick to come down on footballers for they earn so much money, blah, blah, blah. I think what do you make of when you see somebody like Rashford, and there are other players that have done things as well. I know Jordan Henderson's been doing stuff, Zaha's been doing stuff, Harry Kane as well. do you know, for me personally, I just think that's a great kind of middle finger to the people that are criticizing them at every single move they make, that they then turn around and do stuff like that.
Look, I mean, I'm not going to try to, okay, I think Keerthan really hit the nail on the head. Fantastic little blip there from him. But I read something on Twitter where somebody was like, I couldn't tell if it was a journalist or a government official. I forgot who it was, but somebody said football players and sports players in general should not be politically active or politically charged. And before anything else, I'd like to say what Marcus Rashford has done for the country and for the world and feeding millions of children with millions of meals is has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. This has to do with hunger, world hunger, and feeding children. So the fact that somebody was already talking about this being a politically charged movement is an absolute joke. And this is the microcosm of the society today. I mean, we have problems of dividing and conquering. We have so much bipartisanship. We have so much polarization all across the world. Everybody is so hypersensitive about issues. And for somebody like Marcus Rashford, a 22-year-old whose sole job for some people might be to just play football, for him to have led such a deep movement, something that really hits him in a more personal level, which has to do with, food vouchers and things like that. It is an absolutely amazing, inspiring movement, and people should not be criticizing him by bringing up drawing allegations and connecting dots about politics, because this is only to do with Marcus Rashford doing good deeds for humanity, and that's all it needs to be. And he's been an absolute source of inspiration for young and old. I mean, I myself is older than Marcus Rashford, and I feel like he's already son to me. I mean, he's an amazing human being, and I just love to see this from him. And he's probably going to be a source of inspiration for many kids going forward. I mean, the fact that he's inspiring me, Keerthan, and Angelina, you guys, all of us here, like, it's just, you can't say anything better than that about him. He's an absolute top lad.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his story, and he's been, just for United fans, he's been, at the club, since he was such a small child. He's worked so hard to get where he is now, and he is the star for, well, people will argue, but for me, he's the star of the team. When he turns it on, he's absolutely amazing. And he's and now he's also doing this on the side as well. It's like, I'm sure some bitter people will try and find something negative about him. But as far as I'm aware, that kid is amazing. And I mean, James, what do you think this will mean for him moving forward, maybe taking the captain's armband and stuff like that? Because I think he provides such a phenomenal example, even from such a young age, for players that are going to come through after him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great role model compared to some of the players that we've had at this club, some of the mercenaries that have taken pay packets that really don't want to be at the club, the likes of your Sanchez's and your Di Maria, and he's the total opposite of that. And I think also, I mean, he's kind of changing the perception of working class Mancunians, because there's a lot of snobbery about people from Wythenshawe that they're all Spicer Dicks and Chavs, and he's actually doing something that's actually incredible by raising all this money. And people are saying it's PR, but it obviously isn't, because there's small things he does as well. I mean, like learning sign language, he didn't have to do that. I mean, if it was PR, he'd just show up, take a photo and leave, but he's actually putting in effort. He's doing that. He's raised way more money than the actual figures, because he doesn't want to give it away, because it's not about the money he's raised. It's about the food and everything he's raising. And I think it's pretty much a disgrace, really, that we've got a government that was actually calling out footballers at the start of all of this. And now they have the cheek, when all this has happened, to not even remember the name of the guy that's done it twice, not even taller than Daniel, which is just a rookie mistake. And then there was another one on Radio 4 the other day that called him something else. It was just not Daniel. His name, and it's Daniel. Yeah. But there was another guy as well on Radio 4 yesterday that called him something else. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, no, I think obviously it's great that he's doing it, but it's kind of there's a bit of anger though that I'm seeing from people that are sort of annoyed that this he shouldn't be doing this in the first place, because there shouldn't be 4 million people that he needs to feed in the UK. Because if you look at, it's the same thing in the world, really. It's pretty disgusting that the top, 90% of the world's wealth is controlled by the top 1-2%. And, if we shared a bit more, then we wouldn't have food banks or any of this. And, it's sort of a sign of Tory Britain, really, where we have austerity, and there's been more food banks now than there ever has been, which is, it's quite sad, really.
I think the one thing for me, reading about all of it and seeing his interviews and stuff like that, I think I was talking to my family about this, and it's like, if there's, even one kid watching that, maybe from a similar part, a similar town in a different part of the globe, or even someone from Wythenshawe, a place that has a stigma that maybe isn't necessarily true. Even if he just helps one kid think, you know what, he got out and he made a difference, I could be that. Or like all of us sat here now saying, like, this makes us think, what more can we do? Like little things that you can do to still help. And I think it's amazing. And, you get certain people, like you were saying, calling the wrong name and all this rubbish. It's just like people are irritating. But I mean, I just want to check, are we all in agreement for Rashford to have a knighthood? Just checking. Because if you're not, then leave. No, I'll be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Jay will be leading this with memes and GIFs of Sir Marcus.
I think we should get Wythenshawe named after him. Just change the entire town to just Rashford. Get a massive statue.
Did you guys see the thing on Welcome to Wythenshawe? Rashford won, Katie Hopkins nil.
Yeah.
No, it was Boris, wasn't it?
Oh, Boris, sorry.
Yeah.
Nil as well.
Someone
And
stole
just before we move on, I mean, we must realize that children are, our greatest potential and resource. So we have to protect them at all costs. And as Nelson Mandela once said, there can be no keener revelation about a society's soul than how it treats its children. So to everybody criticizing, I mean, what is the base of your argument? What will you do with your money? Are you going to eat it? Are you going to take it after you die? There is no point. Give as much as you can and spread hope and happiness. Just appreciate the man.
That was lovely. That was very
fantastic.
nice way to end that. Yeah, that was beautiful. But
I was just going to say, it must be so embarrassing for the government to actually have their decision U-turned by 22-year-olds from Wythenshawe, and they're so elitist and full of themselves. And they've had this thing where they've said, "Can we change this place over the summer?" And obviously they've just ignored it. But there's been more and more pressure. And this is like how many times is this down for our Prime Minister? He's only been in charge for 4 or 5 months, and there's been so many things that have just been overturned. The other thing with schools were opening the other week, there's been like countless times. It just sort of shows how ridiculous this government is, really, that they're getting shown up by people from Wythenshawe that are doing more than most MPs are, ever to sort of change society.
So basically, Sir Marcus Rashford, Prime Minister Rashford, world
Mayor of the Republic of Mancunia as well.
Yes.
Rashford for president.
Another thing, obviously, is that Rashford is back from injury now at a very important time, because unless you have been hiding under a rock, you will be aware that football is back, not just in Spain, Germany, but the Premier League has returned. Obviously, when we're filming this, last night was the first games. What did you all make of it? How are we feeling?
I'll start this time. Watching, I didn't get obviously the games here. I'm 5 hours behind, so I had to work, and I didn't really get to like sit down and fully get invested into a single game. But I think the excitement, I kind of like hyped myself a little bit too much. I mean, I was careful. Manchester United fans, we know not to get a little excited. We've been there. It's been a while for us, so we're kind of used to that rhythm. But it was exciting at the same time. It definitely was a new change of pace that we all kind of realized this is the new norm. I mean, just the fact that the fans weren't there, the audio was like completely just being generated through a computer. And it was definitely something of a new norm. And I felt like, wow, if this is going to be if this is how it's going to be going forward for an indefinite number of days or months or a year or whatever it may be, this is what we're going to have to get used to. So I try to look through the positives, but other than that, it was very, I don't want to say nervy, but there was a vibe of carefulness. I got to actually watch some Bundesliga games, and there was a difference. I think the Premier League games are still kind of like, feed into the water type thing. Yeah, lethargic. Yeah, I mean, we were all expecting that. Honestly, they've all been cooped up at home doing nothing, so we were expecting a little bit of that. They're definitely gonna need to rebuild that the stamina and the fitness. But
so there was what, like 3-4 injuries in the game last night.
I mean, I don't know the exact number, but we were expecting that.
Only one center back finished the game who started. Only one center back made it out. So
wow, that's a big stat.
I mean, are you all, I assume as football fans, are in agreement that football should be coming back? I mean, I know like you say, it's a new normal now. There's a lot of changes and stuff like that. But Do you think are you happy with the decisions that they've made and how careful they're being with the face masks and the distancing, etc., etc.? What do you guys think?
I'm sort of on the fence, to be honest with you, because you see, all right, yeah, the infection rate is going down, but you look at the Spurs game that they played against Norwich, that friendly, and one of the Norwich players got tested positive, and there's no way that he hasn't passed that on to a Spurs player who we're playing tomorrow. And it just seems like I don't really agree with the fact that footballers are taking tests away from key workers. I don't really agree with it just seems if it's got to return at the right time. I think that's the point. And I think if you look at all the other countries around Europe, their infection rate is a lot lower. If it doesn't need to return, then there's no rush really to push it right back. And I just think it just revolves around money again, because if you look at the other divisions that actually need to return, League One, League Two, they've pretty much decided their league. So it's a difficult one but then you look at it on the other side and you see that actually, if it is safe to resume, then there's no reason why not to. And obviously there's still a lot to rest on the season, and because of how much money there is in the Premier League, you can't really decide it on points per game, because you get, if relegation is such a big thing, the gap between the Championship and the Premier League, if you look at the money in terms of the difference, I know they get parachute payments, but if you're Villa, for example, and you get relegated when you haven't played an extra game than someone else, then, you could sue them.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, there was a few players I was watching yesterday, won't mention any names, but I got the vibe that they were maybe not as prepared to come back from lockdown, maybe a few too many barbecues, few too many beers, I don't know, but you could see a few of them struggling towards the end of those games thinking, I thought this season was done. I thought I could chill until August, September, maybe later. I think a few have indulged, but I just wanted to ask, because I've not actually spoken to you guys during lockdown, how has lockdown been for everybody? Have you all been indulging? Be honest.
And some players are still working from home, like Ozil, so not quite sure what that's about. And when it comes to, to answer your question about safety, I was surprised actually that Premier League came back so early. I wasn't expecting it to be so early. And once the German Bundesliga started, I didn't enjoy it quite as much, to be honest. And the Premier League came back last night, and thanks to Arsenal and their theatrics, it was good to have football back. But yeah, like James mentioned, yes, they are testing all the players, but before the results come out, the next matches are held. So what is the point in testing the players? You have to be absolutely sure that it is safe for everybody. Even one infection can be fatal.
Yeah.
So I think if they can be fully sure of safety, then yes, we can go ahead. But finances should not be put ahead of safety.
What did you make of the fake crowd noises? Did you think it was too loud for City at home to Arsenal?
Definitely.
I think they might have been unsettled with the noise, because I think this is the loudest they've heard.
Listen, I can vouch that the Etihad is, like, we all know it's quiet, but I have drove past that stadium mid-game and I have purposely wound down all my windows, turned my radio down, and you cannot hear a thing. So I can personally vouch that was way too loud last night. It was an absolute liberty. But like I say, there was definitely a few players that maybe weren't as fit. And had maybe, like I say, been indulging quite a bit. And as I said before, what have you guys, one question I wanted to ask, what's been your major indulgence during lockdown, if you've had any?
Well, I guess just to actually, look, I'm not going to try and sound like I'm a good boy and I've done well.
Oh, here we go, Mr. Hell. Getting up and dawn, going for 10-mile runs. Yeah.
Actually, no. Actually, I haven't been running, but this whole pandemic had me really realize and reflect a little bit on what we've been doing as human beings, and just I'm trying to not sound like Louis Van Gaal here, but I really thought about how we can come out of this better. And it's been tough for me on all different levels, but for me, my physical attributes has been deteriorating, to say. I mean, I'm only 28, but just to hear just over the course of the few years since I've graduated from college and went into the workforce, I've just been completely indulgent is not even the word. I've just been letting loose. I literally said, here, hands off, Jesus, take the wheel. I've just been eating and drinking and going crazy. And, it really made me think about what we've been doing. And I was like, you know what? I got to fix this. And one of the things that I could do is try and better my health at home. You know, now I have no excuse. I'm working from home. I have a lot more time in terms of reorganizing my priorities. So I stayed locked in and, you know, really control my meal portions, figured out what I could eat, what I shouldn't eat, you know, did a lot of exercise calisthenics at home and things of that nature. And I dropped, I don't know how this is in kilograms, but I dropped about close to 70, 60 pounds. I'm not sure how much that is, but it's kind of drastic, but
decent. Well done.
It's been an eye-opening lockdown period, to say the least. I mean, there's obviously been so much pain here in New York City, so it's been a very tough moment. You know, over the few podcasts that I've been on here, I've been expressing my emotions of like pain and suffering and sadness. But if there was a little bit of a blessing to be had, I think it was the fact that I really took care of myself. And I'm hoping that anywhere else you guys are around the world, if you guys are watching, you guys should try and do the same. It's never too late, even if you think, oh, you know, quarantine's almost over, it's almost slowly starting to return to normal. No, it's never that. You always have a time to start, and this is the time to start to make a change, whether it be small or large. Do it now.
Very good. Well, I'd love to say that I have been exactly the same. I feel like I've made small changes, but like food and drink wise, it's not been good. Like, it's been a nightmare, and I don't think it's helped. Especially drink wise, well, not that it's not helped, but I think I've been encouraged by a few of the guys at FullTimeDEVILS that have been telling me about beer 52. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's not good. I mean, I was living in Germany and I got introduced to beer there in the 3 weeks I was there before I had to come back for lockdown. And yeah, that's not been good. If anybody's watching that does like a beer, I'm not going to be the only person indulging in this. So I am influencing other people too as well. So I don't feel as bad. So if you didn't know what it was, it's like the world's most popular craft beer. It's like a discovery club. It's like over 150,000 members. And they send you, in a socially distanced good way, they send you the beer to your doorstep. And they have different themes, like a US theme or different European cities, South African theme, different stuff like that. And they're offering actually a free case of 8 craft beers that are sourced from like some of the best breweries that you can find. And if you guys are watching and like I say, you do like a beer, even light or dark beer, make sure that you go to www.beer lowercase and then the numbers 52.com/devils in capitals. I think you got to pay $5.95 for your delivery, your postage and stuff. But minus that, you get the first case of 8 for free. It comes with a magazine, a few snacks. You can pause or cancel at any time. But yeah, so basically everyone needs to get involved in that because I have, and it's yeah, I've been indulging. I'll be honest, I've been enjoying it. I'm not going to lie. And I just think times like this, sometimes you need a little something that's just going to get you through these long lockdown days. So yes, there you go.
I'm so glad I went first because imagine Angelina did that and then I went around like, hey, she's telling all this to indulge, which is important, but
I mean, don't get me wrong, home workouts and stuff like that. But when it's come to the food and drink, yeah, no one's going to see me for a while. It's fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all right, innit? But I mean,
sure. Of course.
Yeah. And I think with the football coming back, it's only going to make things worse. And I think I'm so excited already. Obviously, we're filming on Thursday. On Friday, Manchester United return, Spurs v United. Obviously, we have got a preview with FullTimeDEVILS, so make sure that you guys check that out. But we can still discuss it a little bit. Obviously, we've got Mourinho versus Ole, and one of the main things, and I want to ask you guys, I'll come to you first, Keerthan, is Pogba going to start? Because this kid's back from injury. Like people that have seen me on FullTimeDEVILS before, I'm not his number one fan, I'll be honest. I think he's talked way too much crap. I think he's been disrespectful. As much as he's a great player, if he wants to go, we can go. But it's looking like maybe he's not going to go because people are realising they don't want him or they can't afford him or there's other options. So he's backtracking, trying to, I don't know, like be a bit nicer. He's not said anything controversial. He's kept his agent quiet for a bit. Well done. I'm not bothered if he's on the bench, and I'm sure a lot of people will be coming for me with that. But whatever. Is he starting, guys? What do you think? What do you think, Keerthan?
Okay, see, there are a couple of ways to look at it. Pogba.
Come on,
Pogba
convince me that he should start. Come on.
Okay, I think he should start.
Okay.
To me, simply put, it makes no sense to have a player like Pogba in your team and not to start him when he's fully fit. Okay, so when you are paying him the wages and he is in your team and he's fit, you might as well make use of his services, right? If he wants to go, too bad, sell him, offload him. But if he's there,
you've got him, make him work. Okay.
Exactly. So, I mean, there should be some value for the money we are paying him, right? Because many people raise that point that we are paying him so much, then might as well make use of him. And if you don't play him, then I guess, there will be a lot of, noise, rumors in the media, social media, what's happening back scenes. And is Pogba going to leave? Is there, rift in the dressing room? And is Ole, who is the virus now? And all these talks. We don't need any of that, right? After a very long time, we are witnessing something that is really good behind the scenes. So I think we should stick to the positivity. And I mean, Pogba and Bruno, that is an exciting partnership. Come on, we have all admired and we have all been excited to witness what happens if Pogba and Bruno start running at the opposition. That is a sight we all want to witness. And who better to see than Mourinho getting destroyed with Pogba and Bruno? Don't we all want to see that? Of course we do. Come on, even you have to admit that. So I would very much start Pogba. And yes, of course, there are questions about his, defensive capabilities and stuff like that. But I guess we can, tweak our tactics if we choose to play a double pivot in midfield with Pogba and say Matic or Fred, and then Bruno running forwards. Then I think we should be able to fit both of them in the team. There have been many great sides in football which play all good players or great players. So I don't think there should be this question whether Pogba and Bruno can fit in the same team or not. Come on, we want success. And for success, we need great players in our team. So for me, it's a no-brainer. He's fit, then start him.
Okay. James, do you agree?
I don't know. I mean, look, I don't think he should just get his place based on how good he is as a player, because I think
maybe he doesn't deserve it because
no, that's what I mean. I mean, on merit this season, McTominay and Fred have actually played better. I mean, we haven't seen much of Pogba this season. He's been out for a long time. He came back, he played decent against Watford, but just because he could potentially play better in midfield. I remember it was a similar situation, I think, when it was when Rooney got injured or was suspended for England when they were in, I think it was Euro 2012, it might have been. And for the first two games, he wasn't in the squad. And then he just got given his place back. And I don't think the same should happen to Pogba. I think, if we play against Spurs and if there's an obvious gap in midfield, then obviously he should get his spot back. But I don't think he should just, it's wrong. It sends the wrong message out to the other players that Pogba just fits back into the team because of who he is. And I think that would actually probably do more damage in the long term because it would just further enhance that he's somehow bigger than the club. But obviously he's a very good player. But I think everyone, I'm just sort of bored of the same argument. Should he play? Should he not? Just stick your head down, get on with it. If you play well, fine. But it's just this constant circus that just revolves around him. And I think everyone's just sort of bored of him, Raiola, the whole thing. I mean, I'm not sure whether, in the summer, I'm not sure he would actually be able to leave now because of the transfer situation at Real Madrid. I mean, it was the same last summer. They need to sell about 5 or 6 players that only the top clubs can afford. Bale, Isco, James. I think Lucas Vazquez is another one that only a certain number of clubs can actually afford the wages. And in this situation that we're in, I'm not sure many of those clubs can actually buy him. So I think he's probably going to stay for another season. So it's just about how you implement him back in the team. But I don't think he should start because I think if we go back to our last league game against City, McTominay played brilliantly in that game. So did Fernandes. And, I'm just not sure as to whether he should just get his place back straight in.
It's a hard one because I get what you mean in that if we're paying all this money for him and if he's fit, he should be playing. But at the same time, I get what you're saying there, James, because he has irritated me beyond belief. Like, when he came back to this club, I was like, fantastic. Like, bring him back, roll on the good times. Him and Lingard, playing together again. And, and they've both disappointed me massively, I'll be honest. And I just think, like you say, this circus that has been going on for me, it depends what attitude he comes with. I mean, I'm petty. I want an apology, I'll be honest. I want him to have a handwritten apology to every single fan for allowing his agent to disrespect Ollie, which you don't do, and disrespect the club the way that he has. I think it does, like I say, it depends on his attitude. I think if he's going to come back with a better kind of sense about him and not just, can you hear us?
Sorry, but there's that delay thing again.
Oh no, we've got a delay.
I'm really sorry, but I can't hear anything. So.
It's okay. Right. We'll just do our best, guys. We'll give you a good 5 seconds whenever anyone asks you a question, and we'll just do the best we can. But
do I try restarting again?
I'm not sure at this point.
Wait, Keerthan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear James and John.
So
fine.
should we just ask?
Problem
Should you
is
just like send the questions in the chat and then we ask him the questions?
I will be the supporting host if Angelina.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's fine now.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Did you do that on purpose? Was that a joke?
No. Of course not. I'm really sorry. I really don't know what's happening. But in between it just froze off and then.
Guys, come on. No, I'm kidding. You just didn't like that I was maybe coming for your man Pogba a little bit, I think, to be honest. But I do want an apology, as I said.
Pogba FC in real life. That's the problem they had behind the avatars.
I think he's somehow like maybe hacked into it or something, and he's messing things about because he's not happy with what I'm saying. But whatever, Pogba, if you're watching somehow. But yeah, if he's got to stay, well, if he's going to stay, like you say, if clubs can't afford him, I don't want him to just be sat there like, oh, didn't really want to be here, but I'm here. So
there was a couple of turning points. I mean, like Stockholm, when we won the Europa League, him and Mourinho looks as if they're going to build that massive partnership up. Obviously, that never happened.
Yeah.
You know, he wins the World Cup with France, and everyone's saying, right, he's going to come back. He's going to hit the ground running. But obviously, we know what happened that season where Mourinho got sacked and it all fell apart a bit. And it kind of, you know, there was that incident at training and it looks as if he might leave in January, and that never happened. So I think for his benefit, he may as well just stick his head down and get on with it, because the options he's got in this scenario, Real Madrid aren't going to pay 80 million for him because they can't afford to buy him. So there's only a handful of clubs, like I said, that can buy him. So he's stuck here for the time being.
And I just want him to do the best with it.
Just to be clear, I'm not saying Pogba should be, held above the club or anything like that. Certainly, I mean, of course, the club comes first. I have no doubt in my mind. No player is bigger than the club. Okay. But I'm just saying Manchester United is a better team with Pogba in it than without Pogba.
With a Pogba with the right attitude, and he's not like being irritating and causing dramas, then I am with you on that one. If, he plays the rest of this season and plays well, they have whatever the summer break is going to be, probably like 2 days or something, and then they'll start the new season. I think if he comes back with the right attitude, and I guess I don't know what you think, John, as to who you're excited to see. And we've talked about this Fernandes and Pogba pairing. I mean, do you think if they hit the ground running and it's a good partnership, that'll make it a bit easier for bitter people like me to accept him?
Sure, it will be, but you know what I think it is? I think over the years, I think we're just tired. I think Manchester United fans are just exhausted over the level of toxicity that's been surrounding the club since Sir Alex Ferguson's departure. And you know what? I think Pogba is just the whole saga around Pogba is just a symbol of what Manchester United has been going through. And if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a job, and if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a responsibility, it's not just to win trophies. It's not just to get us into the Champions League. It's to restore, look at me sound like a goddamn Jedi, but it's to restore the balance, and it's to restore the normalcy in the club. We've had so much problems with the managers. We've had problems with the board. We still continue to have these problems that fester underneath. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job now is to restore the piece one piece at a time. And the biggest problem here, obviously, is Paul Pogba. We had a similar situation. David De Gea wanted to leave. Granted, David De Gea handled his PR situation a lot better. He was the utmost professional, and due to the fax machine and et cetera, he didn't leave. Yeah. But while Pogba's situation might be similar in the respect that he wanted to leave, allegedly, and he's now looking more so likely that he's going to have to stay given the circumstances around the world, we need to make sure that we turn things positively. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is to heal that, whether that be sitting Pogba down and be like, look, you idiot, You've been horrible. Your manager's been horrible. You got to tell your brothers to shut up. Whatever the situation may be, Ole's job is to fix that. And Pogba, the whole conversation obviously was about does Pogba start or does he not start? I personally think I'm more on the fence of him not starting. I think James was spot on. I think we need to try, because prior to the lockdown, prior to the pandemic, Manchester United were hitting a nice run of form, and then obviously it slammed, which was an unfortunate situation. But if we are to sit under the assumption that we're going to start everything again from the last moment we were playing, we have to start with the same team, and we have to try and see if there's space for Pogba to come back in if somebody's underperforming, or if Pogba is going to slowly return to match fitness. I think bringing somebody like that who's been injured for such a long time and just coming back in is only going to add to the worries, is only going to add to the risk, and it's only going to add to the pressure under Paul Pogba. I think Pogba, over the course of the years I've watched him, I'm a huge Pogba fan. I think he just gets a bad rap sometimes. Sometimes he's just a plain idiot. But over the years that we've noticed him, he performs well when he's not really the main focal point, or when he's not really the man having to soak up all that pressure. That's just not who he is.
Do you think he tries too hard? I mean, there's games, I've seen him, he just tries to play the Hollywood pass all the time, when a lot of the time it'd actually be more beneficial if he just played a short pass and continued to play.
He does, and I completely agree with that, but I think that's also a growth progression of players. That's a conundrum that players have across the board, especially like Pogba, especially like Memphis, especially players of these caliber, where they have the flair, where they have the pizzazz to be able to turn things in one pass. Pogba was this kind of young, sort of like, just life is cool, let's relax, let's just play football, life is dope, like chill vibes. A player like him, who had to turn things around immediately, be surrounded by this like absolute toxic environment, Jose Mourinho, one of the most crazy, controversial managers, just beaming down on his lifestyle and beaming down on him as a character, was a huge change. You know what I mean? And Pogba realized, you know what, I gotta figure things out. I gotta become a different person. I gotta evolve. And he's trying. He tried. And granted, it's his I guess it was his mentality that might have been a little bit on the more fragile end, or a little bit on the weakened end, if you will. Yeah, of course, every player's going to want to try and, make that extra fancy pass that's quite unnecessary many times. But I think that was more so coming from a good place. I think he was just trying to make things better for himself, to relieve his pressure, to relieve the pressure on his team. There were so many times over the years, even as recent as Angel Di Maria, like seeing him, like we signed him, he was a Galactico coming from Real Madrid. He grabs the ball from like 45 yards out, smashes it, thinking that he's going to like score the goal. Memphis Depay grabs the ball, and Luke Shaw gives him a nice pass, and instead of just like crossing it, does some like 10,000 flip-flaps before like bringing it back. Like, there's so many moments of that.
Ronaldo used to do that when he first came. Everyone called him a show pony, and he had the hair. And I remember it was his debut against Bolton, and he just tried to do too many step overs and just got like 2-footed, and he used to get bullied by like. I remember there's a good package on YouTube of him playing Leeds, and he just gets the absolute shit kicked out of him by everyone for trying to do all these step overs. But Januzaj was a bit like that when he first came.
Exactly, but you see, like, but Ronaldo is 1 in a million, right? And these players, that's part of their growth progression. They have to grow that out of them. Now, let's say Pogba comes back, right? Well, going all the way back, bringing everything back to the conversation. I'd say we don't start Pogba, right? We have 5 substitutions now. There's a lot of room for flexibility to come back in smoothly. You bring Pogba back in and let him ease in, let him calm down, let him relax, and let him rebuild himself. Not just his playing style, not just his fitness, but rebuild himself. I think that's the most important thing here. Pogba has to wash off this whole crap about the transfer. He has to wash off all this crap about Jose Mourinho and rebuild Paul Pogba into something better. And I think that's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to do here. And that's the biggest test of his managerial career, and the biggest test of Pogba's career, the biggest test of Pogba's career as a player.
It's a bit like Rocky 3, if you've seen that. When he gets too far, he wins the boxing match. He gets all the nice cars and everything.
Damn, James, how old are you? Rocky 3, jeez, I like that.
I was just going to say that. I mean, you guys are trying to reform Pogba spiritually. You're looking for some...
I'm all about that. I'm all about the Zen vibes and trying to figure out what the problem is within. And I think Pogba just had too much on his plate, emotionally, mentally. All this noise surrounding him, all that pressure. He needs to rid of that. We need
I
to
think
ease
that's
that
why he
into
was
him.
going playing basketball and going to that Mark Anthony concert when he was injured. He was so
You see, I
much
can't
happening.
protect
He was
that.
like, I need a minute.
What an idiot! Like I can't protect that, but that's just part of who he is. We're never gonna have perfect players. We're never gonna have perfect. Maybe Marcus Rashford is the closest thing that we're gonna have to perfection. We'll see, but that's part of Pogba. He needs to fix that. He needs to, and we need to open that for him. And I think Bruno Fernandes coming into the squad is only going to help that. I think Bruno Fernandes is not going to help him just on the pitch, but it's going to help him off the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, and the people in the comments that will be saying he wasn't playing basketball, he bounced the ball, whatever he did, he had a basketball in his hand. It's a sport. He shouldn't have been doing it. I think if like what you say, if Solskjaer is able to maybe get through to him and understand the issue and make the situation better, and obviously we've got Fernandes in, hopefully we're going to be able to keep hold of Ighalo and whoever else is going to come and go. I think obviously we do need a little bit of a clear out. We can get one or two other names in as well. And for him to feel comfortable and happy with the environment that he's in. And if he's going to deliver and he's going to have the right attitude, I don't think, as much as United fans are tired, if we see that from him, you can't be mad at that, I guess. And I think it'll be interesting to see with Spurs. I feel like he will start on the bench and maybe come on. But I'm just excited to see. This sounds really sad. It's like, you know, when you go back to school and you've not seen your mates all summer and you're like, oh my God. And even though we don't know these players personally, I'm just excited. It's like, oh my God, Wan-Bissaka's back on the pitch. Or like a proper loser. I'm just excited to see them all, not just on their Instagrams and stuff.
Yeah, but having said that, Ighalo's Twitter feed is just the best thing ever. If you've ever seen his Twitter feed.
His Instagram, did you see his Instagram the other day? He went live with a lady who was lay on the floor. I think she was like praying, or she was, I'm not too sure what, but like you could see people commenting like, what's going on here? There was no explanation. He just went live and he just started drinking a bottle of water, just watching it. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was sat there for 5 minutes like, what's going on here? I don't want to click off, because if Ighalo's watching it, then we all should be watching it.
He's got a great fashion sense as well.
Oh, I'm so glad that he's managed to stay in some way, because I think seeing a die-hard United fan putting on the shirt, he's living out a lot of people's fantasies.
I just keep him anyway, even if he's not playing. He could just be like Bez, you know, he just sort of hang around, not really do much. He just sort
like
of, you know,
everyone up. Yeah. 100%.
But you see, like, sorry, Angelina, but you see, like, just to really, like, I don't want to drag this on too long, but this is what I'm talking about. This positivity, it's slowly returning. You know what I mean? We've like Pogba was like a focal point because he was supposed to be the star. He was supposed to be the savior, and everything was going absolutely crap. And of course, he's going to be the main crap at that point, right? But now things are going well. We have somebody like. We have nice vibes. We have McTominay, a Manchester grown player, absolutely phenomenal. Fred, out of nowhere, started to turn it up. We have Ighalo, a signing from China, who we thought it was like, what the hell? And now he's doing great. He's just positive vibes all around. We have Marcus Rashford doing so much for the society. We still have Juan Mata, don't forget, who's still spearheading the common goal front. You know what I mean? There's so many positive things surrounding the club now, and we just need to ride that out. We need to continue to build on that momentum, not just on the pitch, but just an entire picture.
Yeah,
I like that. I mean, I would be happy tomorrow. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to put cardboard cutouts of fans in the crowd or whatever.
right.
I would love to just see Ighalo just running round, like doing a little Mexican wave, just on his own, just like hyping everyone up. I feel like even that I'd be happy with. But I do like the positivity. And what are our positive predictions for the Spurs game? I'll start with you, James.
I'm saying, actually, I mean, the club have actually, off the pitch, have done loads of positive things during this as well. It's not just the players. I mean, I got an email today from the club saying that season ticket holders can now pass tickets on to members for starting from next season, which I think, you know, is a great thing. And they're doing loads of things right, like the I think season ticket holders can watch live games for free without having to pay for it, and that sort of thing. And you know, there's the whole NHS lights thing and the free meals, and I just think they're getting a lot of things right finally, which is good. So, but I think we should be able to beat Spurs. I mean, when we played them earlier on in the season, with a lot of players out, and that was the sort of game I think that sort of saved Solskjaer, because there was that run of games. I think we had Spurs, I think it was City or Liverpool, or someone within the space of 2 weeks. But I think I honestly think we can beat them. I think we've got better players. I think Kane's probably not quite the player he was a couple of seasons ago. I think now that we've got Fernandes, we've got Rashford back as well, who was a bit of a miss since all this happened. But he's actually been quite good this season. I think it's his most goals he's scored in the amount of games he's got. And people forget, actually on the pitch, he's probably having his best season before he had the injury. So I think he's going to be almost like a new signing, really. And obviously Fernandes as well has been great since he came in. And we've got more depth now in the squad, it feels like, especially with players like Igalo as well, who we can just bring on for the last 10 minutes and hold up the ball and that sort of thing. So I think everyone's pretty positive about going into the game. I think we should be able to win pretty comfortably.
You going for 5-0 or?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the thing is, right, with Mourinho, he's the manager you don't want to come up against in a one-off game after players have just came back from lockdown. Everyone's a bit tired, because he could just park the bus, shithouse it, and just do loads of just like stupid and small things just to get an advantage. So I'm not going to say like we're going to win 10-2 or whatever, because I think Mourinho always has that thing about him that you never quite know what he's got under his sleeve. But I think he's certainly deteriorating as a manager compared to United. I mean, the Sevilla game and that last season was a bit bad, but I think we should be able to win it by, I think, 2-0.
Okay, John, what are you going with? Let's get a positive prediction from the positive king over here. Come on.
I'm gonna go 3-0. I actually think we're gonna do well. I think Jose Mourinho, as much as I like to think Jose Mourinho was probably concocting up some sort of master plan during this pandemic. I mean, we saw him getting caught training the players in the park, right?
Yeah, 100%. He's had some kind of underground tunnels built.
Yes, I guarantee you.
Training thing.
I guarantee you, he was doing something like that, and he was doing something like that loads of times before he got caught.
Yeah.
He wasn't sorry because he did it. He was sorry because he got caught. I guarantee he was doing all of that.
He's been doing little Skype training sessions with him, like one-on-one stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
See him all over that.
Exactly. I'm sure, Jose Mourinho is not an easy threat, but I'd like to stay positive. I'm going to ride on it. I don't know if it's going to be 3-0, but I'm going to pray and hope that we win 3-0.
Okay. And Keerthan, what are you going with?
It's been a long break, so I can see us being a little bit rusty and probably conceding one, but I can see us winning 2-1. I'm certain Rashford will score, and I'm almost sure it will be a penalty. So okay. I think it will be a 2-1.
I don't know what I'm going to go for, because I'm just like, I feel like we might concede. So I would probably, but there's so many people that I want to score. So I'm going to believe that they will. Maybe not all of them. I'm going to go 3-1. I think. And I think Rashford's going to score. And I think Fernandes is going to score. And I'd like to see Martial score as well if he's playing. So yes, that would be my prediction. But obviously, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the season as we battle for the Champions League spot, depending if City get kicked out or not. But I think our main rivals, and a bit of breaking news today, the day that we're filming, our rivals Chelsea have signed Timo Werner. It's official. It's been going on for a while. Do you worry that, I mean, everyone says United's linked with every transfer, but it seems from what I'm reading, Chelsea seems to be linked with just as many at the moment. Do you think with transfers we might get left behind a little bit and Chelsea are going to surge on with this team Lampard's building, or do you reckon he's just going to be a bit of a flop like a Torres or something?
To be honest with you, I'm not too bothered about Timo Werner at all. I mean, he's a great player. I've been a huge fan of what he's been doing, but I'm not too bothered. I think right now I'm more interested. My priority as a football fan is just focusing on Manchester United right now. I think I'm more excited. I mean, over the course of the pandemic, even before the pandemic, I've just been harping on about how I think Manchester United is going to do the right thing in terms of the transfer market, for speaking about transfer markets. And I think we are going to go for somebody like Jadon Sancho. And I think whoever we bring in is going to add a positive contribution. I think the main concern here was, is Manchester United going to be falling behind the likes of Chelsea because they're going out and signing all these players? Of course, it's going to add to the competition, but I think it's positive. I think Manchester United now know that they can ride this good momentum, and they have to make a big signing. They have to bring a statement signing. We brought somebody like Igalo, which is a good cult signing, but we need a statement signing. And I think Jadon Sancho is going to bring that to the table. And I think the effect that Jadon Sancho that's going to have on Manchester United is going to be great, far vastly greater than what Timo Werner could bring to Chelsea. Which I'm not knocking on it. I think he's going to probably do great for Chelsea, but I'm not too bothered. I personally don't think
he's not going to be as good as Jadon Sancho. So whatever.
There you go.
Timo Werner, yeah. James, are you concerned about Chelsea? Maybe not necessarily this season. We'll see what happens, but next season, depending on signings.
I mean, they did have a transfer ban last season, which I think people forget. So I guess it's only a natural thing that they are going to sign a couple of players because that's Chelsea's business model, and I think it probably won't stick around for too long. I'm not sure what Lampard's going to do now. He's got all this transfer money again, whether he's going to stick with the young players that he's been playing this season, but I think that the good thing is about United as well, it seems like, John was talking about those statement signings, but if we wanted to go out and make a statement, we could just sign someone like Bale. But I think that we're being linked with players, at least like Sancho, that offer that sort of statement, but are also actually going to be beneficial to us for at least 6-7 years, because we've done that before. I mean, the likes of Di Maria, Falcao, Sanchez, going for players that are over 30 that have injury issues and probably don't want to really sign for the club. It's never a good business model because you're never going to make profit on the players and they're probably going to deteriorate after a couple of seasons. So I'm not too bothered. I mean, it is probably a good signing for Chelsea. I think that the main one I was annoyed about was that we missed out on Haaland. I think he would have been a really good signing in January, and the fact that he was sold to Dortmund for 17 million. It seems like a bargain, really. But no, I'm not really too bothered. I think Sancho's the big one. If we can get him, then I think it'd be a massive boost to our team. So I think we're still a bit thin on that side of the pitch.
Keerthan, are you worried about Chelsea, or you're not even thinking about them?
Well, like James said, they did have a transfer ban, so they're still making up for lost ground and lost time. So they're still filling up their gaps. And Timo Werner, they pulled one off on Liverpool, didn't they? Brilliantly. He was linked to Liverpool for a long, long time, and just like that, out of nowhere, he signs for Chelsea. So, I mean, he will take time to settle in. He's a good player, no denying that. And it's a very young team, so let's see what Lampard will do with them. But one positive is it will put additional pressure on us to bring in our signings. To see rivals around us, signing players. It will certainly put that added pressure on us to complete our signings. And we are always reactive in transfer windows rather than proactive. So it is. We all know it's an open secret that Sancho wants to join, and we are going to go for him. But no concrete bid has been made. There are still no talks. I don't know what we are waiting for. I think it is just to see where we land up in the table, if we will play Champions League next season or not. But I think we should be pursuing, Sancho. And in the league, if you look at the statistics, this season, I believe we are bottom placed when you look at chances created from the right-hand side. So he fits our requirement perfectly. We need Sancho. And apart from that, I think we are also looking for a central midfielder. We definitely need good cover for Bruno, and in case Pogba leaves, obviously. So I don't think we should be worried too much about Chelsea, but yes, we should concentrate on completing our signings, at least 2 of them.
I like that, turning that into a positive thing. This has been a common theme today, guys. But regarding positivity, we're going to go in a different direction, I'll be honest, as we finish this podcast on our Wally of the week. I will go first in case you guys need a minute to think, and just in case anyone else has picked this person. I mentioned it before, Katie Hopkins. Absolute Wally. Why is she starting on Sir/Lord Rashford? I don't know, but she needs to take several seats, calm herself. And I also, the only time that I will ever be happy to see Manchester City on my Twitter feed was when the picture was posted of her trying to trip Rashford in a City kit or something, and she was like, "Oh, I look hot in blue," and City were like, "Yeah, not our blue one." That was the only thing I had to give City a little thumbs up with that. But yeah, 100%. I don't think I need to explain why she's my Wally of the week. She's just a very irritating human being, and it's very typical of her, I think, to jump on the bandwagon for a bit of publicity and something big that's going on and try and turn it into something negative, saying that I don't want to pay for other children's food and stuff. It's it's children at the end of the day, kids that need support, that need help, that need to eat, and you want to try and argue why we shouldn't do that as human beings. Get out of here, Katie Hopkins. She's 100% my Wally. James, who's yours?
Matt Hancock, because he's a massive cunt getting Rashford's name wrong. I mean, it's a basic mistake, isn't it, really? I mean, he's done all this stuff, and you have the arrogance to go on telly and call him Daniel. I mean,
Daniel, Marcus, Daniel.
they're very similar. I mean, he's made it. It's pathetic, really. It sort of sums up, the whole incompetence of this government and their response to this.
I'm with you on that. A very worthy candidate. John, have you got a Wally?
James, nail on the head. That was my Wally of the week. I mean,
yeah.
It's a bigger. I mean, some people are gonna be like, "Oh, calm down, dude. It was a mistake. He forgot his name." That's precisely why he's the Wally, because he forgot his name. It's a 22-year-old who's trying to make a change in the world, doing more than half the people with suits on up top complaining about more votes and all that bull crap. And you have this young kid making a change actively, and you can't get his goddamn name right. Shame on you. If I met you, I would. Oh my god, I would call you something else in front of your face, because that's just
call him the wrong name. There you go.
Get him like that, huh? Positive.
Keerthan, have you got a Wally of the week?
I've got Wallies of the week, actually.
Oh, okay. Bring it up.
Let us, bestow that honor of Wallies of the week on everybody who is criticizing Rashford. Why just Matt Hancock and Katie Hopkins? All the fans I wouldn't call them fans. Everybody on Twitter who is busy saying why is he bothered, or anybody for that matter who is just questioning a meal for a poor kid or underprivileged kid. You are a Wally, buddy.
Yeah. So you've heard it here first. All you guys with the hateration for what Rashford's doing. Yeah. Wallies, a lot of you should be ashamed. Hopefully, I don't think any of those Wallies will be watching this podcast, because I would like to think that you are all pro Marcus Rashford, just like us. So yes, that is the end of this week's podcast, whatever number it may be. I would like to thank you all for joining me. We got there despite the technical difficulties, guys. So yes, as I said, thank you for joining us. Thank you for everybody that has watched or listened to this. Make sure that you are hitting the like and subscribe button. Make sure you've got your notifications turned on YouTube. Make sure you check out all the other videos that we have got going on Full Time Devils. Keerthan, where can everybody find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter on RonnieChan96. And just before we go, I still see a lot of pictures and videos and clips of people still venturing outside unnecessarily and going out and taking this lightly just because we are bored or it's been a while. Coronavirus has not left us. So please be sensible, be safe. It is not just about you being strong enough. You might be risky for others around you. So please follow all the precautions and just do the right thing.
And I think proof of that is the fact that the weather in Manchester, ever since that illegal rave, it's been thunder and lightning and flooding like no other. So that is whoever is in the skies sorting out that thunder and lightning for us. It's just proof. Don't do it, guys, because this is what happens, if not worse. I totally agree with you. It is all about being safe, of course. John, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. John Shin, just harping up, trolling, having a good time. You can also find me on YouTube. I've started a new series. It's called Us Humanized. I'm just looking around, asking people to interview, just talking to people about life, just talking to people about their pains, their struggles, their successes, their hardships, their failures, everything. And if you guys want, you guys can always send me messages. There's also a segment where I read messages and just try to have dialogues. I think that's very, very important in this day and age. Just try to have conversations, speak, and listen to each other. But I just want to say, this podcast, we've been talking for roughly an hour, has been absolutely fantastic. It's just been awesome. Angelina, you're an awesome host. You guys, Keerthan, James, you guys are amazing. I've been sitting in this chair talking to Full Time Devils hosts for close to a decade now, and we're always having some sort of like I don't want to say negative, but it's this was a positive one. I like that. It's my vibe. It's my cup. You know what I mean? Like, it's great.
I'll take the credit because this is my first podcast appearance.
There you go. That's it. That's the
answer. James, what about you? Where can everybody find you?
You can find me writing for the Full Time Devils website, actually. So FullTimeDEVILS.com. I've been writing a few articles. I think Keerthan, you have as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I write.
Yeah. And I'm on Twitter as well. I'm at James Young TV, even though I don't do any more TV work. So, but I'm not really going to change the handle because everyone knows me by that now. So sort of stuck with that. But yeah, I do I do football writing here and there. So if you want to check me out, if any future employers are watching this, then it'd be good if you could get in contact with me, because everyone else is actually at the minute not paying me for articles, so it could be nice if you give me a bit on the side. Yeah, and I'm on the radio as well every Saturday, 3 till 6 on broradio.fm. So if you could listen to that, then it'd be good to get more than 6 listeners every Saturday.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully, yeah, make sure that you tune in, guys. Regarding me, I can't remember all the handles. My name's Angelina Kelly. Not many other people have that name, so just search it and you'll find it, I'm sure. And obviously, people that have watched me on Full Time Devils before know that I am now over permanently at One Football. So make sure you check out some of the stuff that we've got going on over there. So yes, once again, thank you everyone for joining this positive podcast. Take note, Jay, we're being positive. So
Jay.
So yes, thank you very much. As I said before, guys, make sure you check out everything that is going on with Full Time Devils on YouTube. Make sure you're listening to the podcast on the many ways that you can listen. Check out the website with all the blogs with everyone writing. And yes, we shall hopefully see you all soon. Thanks, guys.
So.